Okay, so let us start the video with this exercise that we have already solved wrongly, namely graphing this inequality. So we will first rectify this exercise, the solution, and then we will move on to the next unit, coordinates, lines and increments. So let us proceed like how we proceeded previously, but we will also identify the mistake and not commit it once more. So we have seen that we can simplify this inequality by considering 4 separate cases depending on the signs of x and y. So let's do that. But before we, I think I see something which will further simplify the situation. Note that since absolute value of y, because y is a real number, from the definition of absolute value we already know that any absolute value of a real number is a non-negative real number. We have this second inequality is obtained from this by adding absolute value of x on both sides. That is, so that means absolute value of x must be less than or equal to 1. That is, x must lie between -1 and 1. So any pair of real numbers x and y satisfying this inequality, if we have them, then for them x must satisfy these inequalities. Similarly, using the fact that absolute value of x is greater than or equal to 0, that is, whatever we have done with y we can also do with x, and our conclusion will be this. So this gives us a rough idea of the bounds on x and y, the bounds of x and y. X must lie between -1 and 1, and y also must lie between -1 and 1. Okay, now let us consider the cases. The first case is the one where x and y are both non-negative. In this case, the given inequality is equivalent to this inequality, x plus y less than or equal to 1. We now want to draw the graph of this inequality, and for that we consider the corresponding equation x plus y equal to 1. We first draw the graph of this, and then from that we will try to make sense of the we will try to determine the graph of this one. So let us draw the axis first. The x-axis perpendicular to that is the y-axis. Okay, and on these axes we are also going to need the points. Okay, so this is the real number 1, this is the real number minus 1, this one again is 1, and this one is minus 1. Okay, so now x is greater than or equal to 0, and so is y. Now from our previous experience with graph drawing of equations, which we have already got in school, we know that the graphs of this type of equations are straight lines, and that's why they are called linear equations. To determine the straight line, you just need to know 2 points on this graph. You can see that those 2 points will have coordinates. Those 2 points means you can take any 2 points, but 2 particularly easy choices are this. If you take x equal to 1, then y will be 0, and if you take y equal to 1, then x will be 0, and these points are just these 1, 0, 0, 1. So let us draw the line, but at the same time keeping in mind that x and y are both non-negative. Non-negativity of x forces us to be to the right of the y-axis. Also we can be on the y-axis because x can be 0, and this inequality forces us to be either on the x-axis or above it. So in our straight line we cannot really take a straight line like an unbounded straight line, unbounded on either direction, but we have to take a line segment that joins these 2 points. Okay, this is the equation of this line along with these restrictions. X is 0, but here x is less than or equal to 1. Any point on this line has its x coordinate lying between 0 and 1. Similarly, any point on this line has its y coordinate lying between 0 and 1. But we are not trying to draw the graph of only this line, but rather this inequality. For this inequality, what we will do, we will write the equation in this equivalent form: y equal to 1 minus x. Okay, now say you have a point here, say it has some, because your or let me argue like this: x lies here in a general position where x is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 1. Now you want to figure out what y will be, okay, so that x plus y is equal to 1. If your y is equal to 1 minus x, then the point that you have will lie on this line here, because on this line y is equal to 1 minus x, and that is because the sum of such x and y has to be equal to 1. But from this inequality you know that y is in general less than or equal to 1 minus x. So 1 minus x is the highest y can go. So the y value will not go above this. It will either have this maximum value or it will be smaller than this. So that means our point will have its y value lying between these two extremes. So the point will lie here somewhere. But that is for this x. Now if you vary x also, you can clearly see that your point will lie within this triangular region. It can lie on any one edge of the triangle, or it can lie in the interior of this triangle. So that's how you get one part of the graph, which is this triangular region. That includes the sides of the triangle and the interior of this triangle. Okay. Number 2, say this case considers a negative x but non-negative y. In this case, the given inequality becomes minus x plus y less than or equal to 1, or y less than or equal to 1 plus x. So we consider the equation y equal to 1 plus x, and you can see that this x is less than 0 and y is greater than or equal to 0. These are the coordinates of this point, which is at a distance 1 from the origin and lies to the left of the y-axis. This is a point on this line. If we take x equal to minus 1, then minus 1 plus 1 gives us 0. Like that, if we take x equal to 0, then y is equal to 1. So this is again a point on the line. But keeping in mind this inequality, x will lie within these two extremes. X cannot now take the value 0 because x is less than 0. So x must lie to the left of y-axis, but it can take the value minus 1. So now this is our line, where actually if you strictly look at the situation, since x is less than 0, the line segment that we are now drawing with these two restrictions will not have this point on it, 0, 1. The original line has the point on it, but the line segment will not have the point. However, that point is already included in the previous line. So ultimately, taking these two lines into consideration, we have this entire segment as a part of the graph. Now, just like what we did with this case, let us also do with this one. So here what we do, we arbitrarily take one x and then try to figure out what y can be, keeping in mind that y is still greater than or equal to 0. So we must be above the x-axis or on the x-axis. So the least possible value of y is 0. But what is the greatest possible value? Greatest possible value is 1 plus x. But when y is equal to 1 plus x, then the corresponding point lies here on the line. Otherwise, y is smaller than 1 plus x. In that case, the corresponding point will lie below this line. So taking everything into consideration, you can see that here the region is again such a triangular region, where actually the y-axis is not a part of this region because x cannot be equal to 0. But with the previous region, taking that into consideration, we get now these two triangles which together give us this bigger triangle. Okay. Now that we have become accustomed with this process, we can find the other two cases more quickly. Here x is greater than or equal to 0, y is less than 0. In this case, the inequality is equivalent to x minus y less than or equal to 1, or y greater than or equal to, because y will go on that side, x minus 1, and the corresponding equation is y equal to x minus 1. So you can see that the points that satisfy this equation, the type of points we are considering are, one of them is 1, 0. If you put x equal to 1, you get y equal to 0, and another one is 0, minus 1, this point, which is at a distance 1 from the origin, lies on the y-axis and below the x-axis. If you put x equal to 0, you get y equal to minus 1. And with these two restrictions, we are now considering this straight line. Now if you consider any point x here, then the highest value of y, of course there is no highest value of y, the thing is that y has to be less than 0. That means the y value must lie on this side below the x-axis. That means y has to be negative. But the smallest possible value is x minus 1. When y is x minus 1, then x comma y lies on this line. So in general, any point lying, it's satisfying these two inequalities and satisfying this one also, that must lie above this line and below the x-axis. So we get this region, where strictly speaking the x-axis is not a part of the region. And like that you can pretty much understand what the fourth one is going to be, where both x and y are negative. Minus x minus y is less than or equal to 1, which is equivalent. If you multiply on both sides by minus 1, you get x plus y greater than or equal to minus 1, or y greater than or equal to minus x minus 1. So here the equation is y equal to minus x minus 1, and they are satisfied by these 2 points. If you put x equal to minus 1, then minus of minus 1 becomes plus 1, so 1 minus 1 gives you 0, and if you put x equal to 0, you get y equal to minus 1. And keeping in mind that x and y also satisfy these inequalities, we get this line segment. And arguing just like these other cases, you get this region. So this is the square, and along with its interior, that is the graph of this inequality. In the present position, it looks like a diamond. Okay, so this diamond shaped region is the graph of the inequality, which previously also we obtained, but in our previous solution we completely forgot, although we considered all the 4 cases, but we completely forgot about these conditions, so that instead of considering these line segments, we considered the entire lines. So that was our mistake. So now this solution is correct. Okay, now we are going to start a new unit. Coordinates, lines, and increments. So the first thing is Cartesian coordinates in the plane. So these are some things you already know, but we are now going to formally again present them. So here you have the numbers, since we are in no particular hurry, so we will carefully go through all the things. To be somewhat arbitrary, let us take the point here. Okay, so the thing here is that the position of any point in the two-dimensional plane can be measured with the help of two perpendicular axes. two real lines actually which meet perpendicularly such that the zeros of those real lines, every real line has, I mean, if you draw a real line and then put the real numbers, you get one point which represents the number 0. So the two zeros of these perpendicular real lines meet. That is where they intersect, and that place is called the origin. And the lines have been taken in such a way that the horizontal one is known as the x-axis, the vertical real line is known as the y-axis. On the x-axis, numbers increase to the right, and on the y-axis, numbers increase upward. Okay, the part of the x-axis that lies to the right of the origin is known as the positive x-axis, and the part that lies to the left of the origin is known as the negative x-axis. The origin divides the horizontal real line into these two parts. Just like that, the origin also divides the vertical real line into two parts. The part that lies above the origin is known as the positive y-axis, and naturally the part that lies below the origin is known as the negative y-axis. And the choices for these terms are clear. The reason for these choices, that is clear, because the numbers are appearing in that sense. Here we have all the positive real numbers to the right of the y-axis or to the right of the origin on the x-axis. So that's why it's known as the positive x-axis and so on. Okay. Now the thing is that if you take an arbitrary point on in the plane, that point can be anywhere. It can be here or here or here or here. It can also be at the origin, or it can be anywhere on the axis also. So when you get such a point, you can draw perpendicular line segments from the point on the x-axis and on the y-axis, like here how we have drawn. So this is one perpendicular. This is the perpendicular from the point on the x-axis. The perpendicular will have a foot, that is the point where it ends on the x-axis. That point represents a real number. That real number, let that be a. That is known as the, let me write here, the x coordinate of the point P, and the point where the horizontal perpendicular meets the y-axis, that also represents a real number b on the vertical real line. So that real number is known as the y coordinate of P, and this ordered pair A comma B, where the first one is the x coordinate and the second one is the y coordinate. We say ordered pair because A comma B is considered to be different from B comma A. If you change the order, then it is supposed to be a different object, a different ordered pair. This ordered pair is known as the coordinate pair of the point P. Okay. Now you can see that according to this arrangement, every point in the plane gets a unique x coordinate and a unique y coordinate. Let us see some other possibilities here, because that place has been cluttered completely. So this is our x-axis, this is our y-axis. So we have already seen the situation we have when the point lies here in this section. If the point lies here, say, then also if you draw a perpendicular from it to the x-axis, you get a unique x-coordinate which happens to be negative because it is towards the left of the origin, and you still get a unique y coordinate, which is this. Say this is a prime and this is b prime, then the coordinate pair of this point will be a prime comma b prime. Okay, so such points also have coordinate pairs. Now you see that these two situations that we have considered, in these two situations it may happen that the point lies on the x-axis, that is, we may have P here. If P lies here, then the foot of the perpendicular you will draw from P on the x-axis is P itself, because that perpendicular will have 0 length. It is not actually a perpendicular in the geometric sense, but you can try to understand what I am trying to say. Here the foot of the perpendicular is P itself, so this is the x coordinate, and the x coordinate is, it will be some real number which represents this point, say a double prime, a dash dash. And if you draw a perpendicular from P on the y-axis, then that perpendicular is just this one, whose foot turns out to be this real number. Now on the vertical real line, this real number is just 0. So the coordinate pair of such a point is a prime prime comma 0. If you do such a thing for a point that lies to the left of the origin or to the left of the y-axis, say your point lies here, then here also if you draw a perpendicular on the x-axis, then it will be some real number, say c suppose. And if you draw the perpendicular from this point on the y-axis, its foot again will be this real number 0. So here the coordinate pair is c comma 0. So you can see that on the x-axis every point has y coordinate equal to 0. By the way, there is a special case. What about the origin itself? On the origin, if you try to draw a perpendicular from the origin to the x-axis, that also has 0 length. If you draw a perpendicular from the origin to the y-axis, that also has 0 length. So in this case, both the feet of the perpendiculars will be this point itself, which represents 0. So both the x coordinate and the y coordinate are equal to 0. So the origin is the only point where both x and y coordinates are equal to 0. However, you can see that for any point lying on the x-axis, the y-coordinate is always 0. In a similar manner, you can argue and you will find that if you take any point on the y-axis, either here or above the origin, the foot of the perpendicular drawn from that point on the y-axis will be the point itself. So that will give the y-coordinate, and the foot of the perpendicular drawn from that point on the x-axis will be the origin, which represents the real number 0 on the horizontal real line. So for any such point, the coordinate pair looks like this: 0, D. That is, for any such point, the x coordinate is always 0, because to find the x coordinate you have to look at the foot of the perpendicular drawn on the x-axis. To find the y coordinate you have to look at the foot of the perpendicular drawn from the point to the y-axis. So this one that is drawn from the point to the x-axis, that represents the real number 0, so you have 0. So points lying on the y-axis have coordinate pairs that look like this. But for other points that don't lie anywhere on the axis, they have both their x and y coordinates non-zero, because they have, their feet cannot be equal to, what I am trying to say is this: if any such point neither lies on the x-axis nor lies on the y-axis, then it will lie either here or here or here or here. And in all the 4 cases, the coordinate pairs that we get have non-zero real numbers, non-zero x coordinate and non-zero y coordinate. So that means each one of them will either be positive or negative, each coordinate, x coordinate and y coordinate. Now what is the distribution of signs? You can see that if you have your point here, then the x coordinate is this foot. So that is a positive real number. So in the coordinate pair, the x coordinate is positive, what about the y coordinate? You will draw a perpendicular like this, so the y coordinate is also positive. If you have your point here, then the x coordinate is this, and it's a negative real number. It lies to the left of 0. But the y coordinate is still positive. For any point here, the x coordinate is negative and the y coordinate is also negative. And for points lying here, the x coordinate is positive and the y coordinate is negative. So these are the types of signs that we will get in the coordinate pairs for this type of positions of the points. Now the axes, if we think of the axes together, they divide the whole plane into 4 compartments, and they are called, each one of them is called a quadrant. This is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant. First quadrant means this one, this compartment. These are the 4 compartments. This is the third quadrant and this is the fourth quadrant. They have been numbered in the counterclockwise sense, starting from this one, where the coordinate pairs are such that both the x and y coordinates are positive. Okay, so this system using which you can find the coordinate pairs and hence the position of all points in the plane with respect to 2 perpendicular real lines is known as the Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, and according to this system, each point in the plane gets a unique coordinate pair, and no point is left without getting any such pair. And also, if you arbitrarily think of an ordered pair of some real numbers, say minus 3, 1.5, etc., then that corresponds to exactly 1 point. That is, the converse is also true. Like, it's like naming all the points in the plane using coordinate pairs. So the points are of course geometric points, but the coordinate pair is like a name given to the point. This system of Cartesian coordinates is one system which gives these points names in such a way that every point is named and every point gets a unique name, and no name is also wasted by not getting associated with any point. Every name is associated with a unique point, and every point is associated with a unique name. I think it will be better to stop the video here. The next topic in this unit is increments and distance, about which we will discuss in the next calculus videos. What it's about is this: if a point moves in the plane in some manner, then if you already have a coordinate system set up in the plane, then say the point is here and you have a coordinate system like this. The point moves from here to here in some fashion. Then this is the initial position and this is the final position. These two positions have their coordinate pairs, say A, B and C, D. The differences of these coordinates, that is the difference between x coordinates and y coordinates between the final and initial position, they are known as the increments of this point, or the increments of the motion. So we will talk about this more in the next video. So see you in the next video. I have 2 more videos to make tonight.